Another day in the NBA, and it's a blend of our usual key injuries, some star players, chalk looking incredibly good, value plays out the wazoo. We're going to talk about it all here, as we always do on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see what my data says, what their data says, what the ownership says. We'll meet somewhere in the middle. We'll see the best plays, the top value plays. We'll run a sim on Stokastic, see what they think about things without my interference. We even try to do a hand build if we have enough time at the end of this video. And by the end of this video, you also know all the must plays for today, industry-wide for November 14th, along with my splash plays for today's slate. Let's get into it. I hope it was a good slate for you guys. Yesterday, gave myself a brutal 2v2 swap. I went from a lineup that was looking good, had the early Craig Porter Jr. value looking good, DeAndre Hunter, solid at his price tag. Didn't get Scotty Barnes, so I don't think it had enough upside anyway. But going into the late slate, or going to the last couple games rather, football was on. I was like, okay, well, Nick Richards is starting for the Suns. Why not play this guy as more value? Swapped from a lineup that had Dylan Brooks and Yusuf Nurkic to one that had Siakam and Nick Richards. Cost me literally 50 fantasy points on that slate yesterday. Again, wouldn't have been a massive payday, so it is what it is. More of an anecdote about the pain of tinkering with your lineups, of late swapping, of sometimes leaving those initial good plays. That's what happens across every DFS sport. It happens all the time. It's what it looks like. Love naked things. Thank you for that. Hello, is there anybody out here? Relax. Sometimes I start a few minutes late because I'm doing fucking 4 hours of streams on a Friday, Eddie. Cut me a little bit of slack here. But let's start the work for guys like Eddie who have no time to wait around, for streamers hopping from show to show that need a moment to run some sims and eat some Texas toast between streams. The last of the Texas toast, gone out of the freezer now. Our top projected players today: Giannis, number one, 36% ownership expected for him. Giannis going to be your mega chalk of the day. Again, there's enough value to afford him fairly easily. A couple slates ago, we had really no good pay-up options, but ended up easy enough to afford Victor Wembanyama that field ended up being their 25%. For today, Milwaukee facing Charlotte after Giannis ducked the matchup last time. Now he'll get that soft one today. Charlotte getting LaMelo back, better shot at staying competitive in this one. But Milwaukee still a 9.5-point favorite at home. So very big total for Milwaukee in this spot with 124.5 implied points. Giannis, easy chalk on the slate, but definitely one that does not feel too particularly good right now. Luka Doncic, 12K salary for him, 58.4 projection for me, so a little bit behind where I have Giannis. Stokastic also 4 fantasy points behind Luka with Giannis right now. As a result, Luka's projected for 8.5% ownership. The Lakers today, not a bad matchup at all, going into New Orleans, a team that we know is one of the worst defenses in basketball. 121 points per 100 possessions being given up by the Pelicans would actually, I think, be the worst, but they're probably neck and neck with the Wizards and a few other teams. As it is currently for Luka Doncic, the projections coming down because Austin Reeves keeps playing well enough, and Luka's scoring has kind of leveled out as opposed to the crazy, massive scoring outlier days that he had at the beginning of the year. So Luka, definitely a tournament pivot to Giannis, but you're paying more money for a guy that's lower projected. That's always something that's going to keep the ownership mostly in check. Sometimes you got to take a dump. For the record, I did not take a dump. Actually, one other thing too, which I was not going to share because it doesn't really matter to you guys, but Kitty, in between my streams while I was out here, Alex is not in the house today. I don't know what the fuck she's doing. She's out doing some bullshit, some of her bullshit. Kitty also grabbed my cat Nilla, my deceased cat Nilla's ashes, and lightly chewed on the box. So that was the in-between time. It was me running sims, trying to eat toast quickly, and yelling at the dog for chewing on my cat's ashes. So no dumps. In fact, I do not really a midday dump guy. If you really didn't know, in addition to what I'm eating, I'm not a midday dump guy, perhaps because of the Texas toast. Victor Wembanyama, our number 3 projected play here. He's only on the late slate though, so we're not going to talk about him too much, but he looks fine. Wemby to me at this point, mostly your pivot option to better projected players. Guys like Stephon Castle playing well enough. Guys like De'Aaron Fox playing well enough for this team, taking usage away. You still have your Keldon Johnsons, your Devin Vassell's looming to take usage in certain spots. So Wemby, no issue with him. And an NBA Cup night as well, which I should say up top, NBA Cup rules. So these guys might play a few more minutes and play into the blowouts longer because they want to get that points advantage to advance to the next round. For Wemby, that all looks good for him, but he's on the main slate, so who cares? Tyrese Maxey, you got Joel Embiid still out here. 10-5 salary on him is pretty aggressive, but he really does play the most minutes out of all the superstar players. And with it being an NBA Cup day, maybe he gets you to 43, 44 minutes, who knows? But Maxey, your best shot out of all the pay-up options to get 40 minutes. He is playing well enough. I have him, again, better projected than Stokastic. 52.3 for me, 50.4 for them. But only 1.8% ownership for the field of Tyrese Maxey. I got him at 3.3. I think for Maxey, I'm happy to get him in lineups whenever I do. The price tag's a little bit tough because he just doesn't feel like he's established himself on that tier as much as some other guys that we're paying up for, especially, on an NBA Cup slate where we expect to get a few more minutes out of it. But for Maxey, he does project a little bit better for me than Cade Cunningham. And I think the spot for them going against Detroit, both guys valid plays. I'm not sure how you'd build the lineup and feel good about it, playing both Maxey and Cade. But assuming Cade can play today, I think it's a competitive spot. Total right now is only 4.5 points favoring Detroit, which also does seem like a Jalen Duren and Cade will play despite being Q tags right now kind of team total. I think that Maxey's a nice tournament option as well. So Luka Doncic and Maxey, with this much ownership going to Giannis, like he projects better, but I don't think it should be this much of an ownership discrepancy. Cade Cunningham, I'm low on him today. I just can't get all the way there projection-wise with how he's kind of played in an outlier way for most of the performances he's had this year. That said, he is putting up a ton of assists on the year, has a 33% assist rate, 30% usage. Actually, no, it's reading that wrong. That's Maxey. For Cade, he's had a 42% assist rate, 32% usage. He's been playing really well. The issue really in the underlying numbers is that Jalen Duren is also scoring about 32 points per 100 possessions with Cade at 35. It's now not as big of a discrepancy as where it was before for the Pistons, where the entire offense, the entire total would flow through Cade's hands. Now it's not so much the case. You do have a few outlier games for guys like Dennis Jenkins lately that are going to also throw off the projections for me a little bit, because Dennis Jenkins is playing now well enough that I have him producing fairly well in whatever limited amount of minutes he gets. That sort of pulls away from the Cade number overall with how my data works. But Cade, 3% expected owned by the field. I'm at 1. It just feels like Maxey and Cade. I don't want to pay $11K for Cade, but this guy got a 46 shot attempts the last time he played. It's an NBA Cup day. If he is healthy enough to play unlimited minutes and keep shooting like, I would say, an Italian vernacular, like a Gavone, he's fucking scarfing everything up. If he's going to keep doing that, I think for Cade Cunningham, he is a player that feels underprojected by both me and Stokastic data right now. Karl-Anthony Towns, you're getting the benefit here of Jalen Brunson, who after that Orlando game was in a walking boot and crutches, so we'll miss at least a few games, it looks like. Karl-Anthony Towns looks like the big winner in projections. That said, I've only got him at 49.6. Stokastic has him at 52.2. So he's only in 23% of my top 150 lineups, and the field's expected to be at 40. Usually I am higher on Towns than Stokastic is, so I'm a little bit confused by that. Probably for me, maybe I'm giving a little bit too much respect to Jordan Clarkson. No, because they have him better projected than I do too. I think it's maybe because I have Bridges higher projected than Stokastic does, and that might be the swap. But anyway, Towns is like a good play today. He's facing Miami without Bam Adebayo, so that helps out in terms of matchup a little bit. But really, the usage being vacated by Brunson, you're talking about like a 33% usage rate, 30% plus, might be closer to 40 assist rate. I don't know offhand because it's not on my sheets because Brunson's not playing today. But for Brunson, like a lot of usage, a lot of assist rate off the court. So all these guys are going to look better. In court time without Brunson, it's usually Jordan Clarkson playing, and we can just quickly show the popcorn machine for the sake of a visual aid. Popcorn machine, if you are new to the world of NBA DFS, very important site to understand rotations and stuff like that. But Brunson here, you can see played the entire first quarter. There we go. That's English. Entire first quarter. He goes out. Jordan Clarkson comes in. The second Clarkson comes out, Brunson comes back in. Second half, Brunson starts, plays the whole third quarter. The second he goes out, Clarkson comes in. He does have a slight bit of overlap with Clarkson and Brunson. Seemingly because they didn't want to go to Mikal Bridges yet. I don't know why that push-pull would be there. But Clarkson playing minutes, basically, that Brunson doesn't play. The takeaway to read into that. There's a shot you could get a Clarkson start today, which won't make him a top projected play on the slate or anything. But I think that would affect the projections a little bit for the Knicks as well, where Towns would come down, just because Clarkson historically does get shots up, even though he's not shooting a crazy amount in the Knicks and does seem mostly washed in the Knicks. I think that for the Knicks right now, you want to know those starters to feel really good about whatever players are going to play, but Towns will still be a popular option no matter what. James Harden, no Kawhi. That's going to help out Harden in his projection as well. In fact, he's a little bit lower priced than some of these top tier stars, but still producing a 1.26 fantasy points a minute. That's all good. Clippers versus Dallas, not a high pace matchup, but it's technically a pace up for the Clippers, who play at one of the league's low paces. Going against Dallas, they're playing about 100.5, so that should be a bit of a speed up for Harden today. The total's not great for the Clippers and Dallas. The big reason that I'm getting Harden coming up here, 10%, Fields at 9.5, is because of the fact the entire offense flows through him when Kawhi is not out there. So Harden looks okay. Şengün, we could skim through these guys a little bit faster. Şengün also looks okay. These guys not super highly owned, but all over 5x values. You got a lot of options to go to here, which I think is part of why you're not getting Luka, not getting Maxey, not getting Cade Cunningham as much, because these guys are like fringe 5x values or underneath it. Everybody else here in this range, you got a lot of dudes 8K to 10K that project as pretty good values overall, despite having pretty high price tags. Alperen Şengün, 4% ownership. I'm at 5. Really, for Şengün, I'm not getting him a ton so far this year, but going against Portland, against Donovan Clingan, should be a kind of matchup where Şengün could exploit some of the advantages that he has there, even if he gets blocked a little bit more. No issue with Şengün, but at 9,500, he and Harden just feel like kind of forgotten plays for the most part. Franz Wagner, he gets a big ramp up here because not having Paolo Banchero. He is hurt, going to be day-to-day moving forward. Over the last year and change, without Banchero and a few of the other Magic players that are no longer available, we have seen Franz put up 1.37 fantasy points a minute, including 37% usage and a 34% assist rate. That'll move around because you'll have Desmond Bane in now, taking some more usage away. Jalen Suggs has also been more usage and assist dominant this year, so that'll kind of hurt Franz compared to last year where you didn't have Bane on the team, and also Suggs was not exactly that kind of player and was also hurt for a lot of time. But Franz, I think, is your best play of the day. To me, he kind of looks like a Jalen Johnson yesterday. I think there is potential for a triple-double, as I pointed out for Jalen Johnson yesterday. Didn't think he'd go for 95 fantasy points, but I thought Jalen Johnson was a really good play in yesterday's 3-game slate. Franz, I think a very good play today. Taking Banchero off means that Orlando can now run a much more functional offense where Franz creates his own shot, creates shots for others, and they're also playing Brooklyn, who is a slow-paced team but really bad defensively. Franz, I think, a really good play, and I don't think he's going to be this low owned for what it's worth, at 12%. That feels light, but I'm getting him at 42 right now. Franz is like a very key play for me today, and that's why that's his face on the thumbnail. Austin Reeves coming up a lot for me. Still has an elevated projection in part because of his time this year playing without Luka Doncic, but he's still been a great player overall when you take one of the star players off. We still have no LeBron for now, even though he's getting healthier. Full go in the G League is what LeBron has been, so he should be back in this rotation soon. In that respect, kind of maybe a farewell to arms for Austin Reeves for his usage. It's going to start crippling downwardly a lot more with LeBron out there. But Reeves, a lot of ownership already at 22%. I'm getting more than 2x that at 53% of my top 150. I mean, Reeves has just been solid. The big thing, though, is that if Luka plays nuts, like, Reeves is going to come down. If Reeves plays well, Luka's ceiling is kept in check a little bit more. But Reeves producing 1.32 fantasy points a minute. He's been really good. It's just kind of weighted a little bit more to reflect some of those games where he went absolutely insane with Luka not available. And Jalen Duren, Q tag for him. But again, the total seems like these guys are going. And if he doesn't go, Paul Reed, go nuts again. One of the best IQ test plays of the last slate we had with the Pistons. Paul Reed mentioned on this show, if Duren was ruled out, just lock him in. Duren was out. I locked him in. A lot of the field did, but only half the field played him, which is kind of crazy to me. Field in these days, kind of casual observation, field more suspicious of value chalk than ever, or they just like getting lineups without it. But I was surprised to see Paul Reed be that low when he was, like, in my opinion, and I think most people would look at the data, one of the most obvious just play as much of them as possible kind of plays. Again, if Duren plays, he looks good at 8,300. You have big usage vacuums right now because Tobias Harris not being, and Isaiah Stewart's also a Q tag. If he doesn't play, that secures Duren's minutes a little bit more. Without Paul Reed played, maybe the minutes get squeezed a little bit for Duren, whether Stewart's in or not, because Paul Reed had one of the better center games of the year the last time the Pistons played versus Chicago. We're going to sort by value next. And of course, guys, if you get any value out of this video, please do. Speaking of value, if you get any value to this video, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe here. I'm doing these videos Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So basically every day. Saturdays, I also do a Stokastic live before lock stream. Basically, for me in the NBA, it is a labor of love, even though many times, including on slates where we have really good value a couple days ago. Yesterday felt like I had like a really good lineup built around and then just didn't make the right 2v2 swap. Basketball many times does feel like you're just pushing the boulder uphill. I keep making the Sisyphus analogy, but that's what DFS is. But if you want to be here for the love of the game, getting my best reads on stuff, using my best efforts with the data and the things I know from many years doing this kind of content professionally, that's what you get here on Splash Play Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So please do show some love, hit that like button and subscribe. And you guys do that a lot for this channel, so I appreciate it. But let's keep doing it. Let's push this channel as much as we can right now. And check out Stokastic as well, 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. That's a big way to support the show too. Half the money that you pay to them comes to me, and that includes all their data products, all their Sims products. You get all that for yourself with 15% off the promo code SPLASH or the link in the description on YouTube, Twitter bio, same thing on there if you want to go check it out. All right, our value plays. Thank you for the super chat, Robert from the Third. You can tell when my momentum is waning and you give me money, and I appreciate that about you. We value your takes and puppy stories. Thank you for that. Yeah, the fucking dog. If she ever breaks through and chews the cat's ashes, I would never want to get rid of a dog, especially after they're not a cute little puppy anymore. But fuck me, you can't chew my dead cat's ashes. That's a bridge too far. Musa Diabate, we got no Ryan Kalkbrenner today, so Diabate should get the start. He's been playing incredibly well on the year. Your big issue for Diabate is that they are facing Milwaukee, so he'll be facing Mini Shaq with Giannis on the other side, and Miles Turner will play tough enough, though. His kind of floating around on the outside probably makes for Diabate to hit his rebounding numbers that he needs to hit. But Diabate on the year, 20% rebound rate, 1.1 fantasy points a minute. Great producer overall, kind of guy that coming in, you know, is going to get pretty guaranteed run. There is not a Yusuf Nurkic there anymore who took meaningful minutes away from Diabate last year. And then with Kalkbrenner out for personal stuff, Diabate is a very strong play. So 59% of the fields here. I'm getting him at 81. The one critique you could make is that maybe there's a better value that opens up later on. But Diabate and Derek Queen will be two of the big men I start with today. Queen is power forward center, Diabate only center. These two guys look like very strong plays. Derek Queen, we should pull up the popcorn machine here because we want to see what the Pelicans did last game. So there's two things that happened last game. Number one, Yves Missy squeezed almost entirely from the rotation. You had Kevon Looney playing a few minutes here. He did pick up foul trouble, picked up a second foul. They went to Derek Queen a little bit earlier as a result with 8 minutes and 15 seconds left. Second half, Looney played, picked up his third foul. They went to Queen almost immediately again. But Queen played 38 minutes, and he's a big guy. He is I'd say a little bit out of shape, to be real about it. But the fact that he could play 38 minutes and they played him 38 minutes, I think is really interesting to see. The other thing is that Yves Missy played this stint here. He got in a fight during the stint that he was out there. He's not suspended because I don't even think he got ejected from the game. But he didn't play in the second half. He might have gotten ejected, but I'm pretty sure nobody got ejected because no punches were thrown. But like, got this really big altercation last game. But Yves Missy out of favor and then did something stupid. So the playing time for Derek Queen should be about as stable as it's been. And he's been a really good producer on the year, putting up 1.05 fantasy points a minute with 23% usage, 15% rebound rate, a 16% assist rate. He's unafraid to go and get the ball up top and also give guys some DHO, some designated handoff kind of stuff or design handoff kind of stuff, where basically like you're getting an assist for him, not really doing anything besides giving another guy shot to make a run at the rim or shoot a three. Derek Queen is in a good spot right now. If he's going to play a lot of minutes, stochastically projected for 28. But again, he played high 30s last game. He won't be priced at 4,900 very long. He might not be priced that much anyway, even if he only plays like 25 minutes. But Derek Queen, a chalky play today at 28%. I'm getting 81. Basically, my lineups are kind of being built around the concept right now of Diabate and Derek Queen being the baseline. Oh, is Kalkbrenner, is it a pregnancy thing? I don't know. I feel like it said personal issues for a while, but I guess that would be then they're waiting for a child to be born. These guys, man, if I were in the NBA and I were a rookie, how could you be fucking having a kid and being married already? Like, get the fuck out of here. That's not to be all Pat Beverly, who like called out Klay Thompson and referred to Meg the Stallion as like, oh, that pussy got him fucked up. So Klay Thompson had to have like a reply on Instagram. But like really, like if you're an NBA player for the first few years, you're coming out of, you played like Creighton, hang out for a little bit. They did get ejected. Okay. I thought they didn't, but I know the fight went on forever because I was watching that game. Stupid Prime NBA League Pass, you could only do 3 games at once, but I had it on one of them, and I'm like, how are they still fighting? Like, like they were fighting for a while, and they kept showing the replays of the fighting, and it felt like it went on for like 15 minutes. Jalen Suggs. So Jalen Suggs should be a winner from not having Paolo Banchero out there. Suggs has also been playing a lot better this year. That said, I still played Suggs last slate when a lot of other value opened up, and Suggs fucking killed me. Suggs going back to last year, though, court time without Banchero and some of the other magic. He's putting up 1.36 fantasy points per minute. It's only 220 possessions, which is about 1/4 of the sample size we want. 1,000 possessions, if you look at a site like NBA Wowie with add more funds, 1,000 possessions like your benchmark. And same thing for the season, too, where guys' rates start to really stabilize. You can expect that projection to be on a similar kind of scale if you were to do an R-squared testing kind of thing. So basically, for how it looks with Jalen Suggs right now, he's played well going back to last year without Banchero. He's also played really well this year. Suggs, I'm going to go back to, even though he absolutely just fucking killed me last slate. If the field's at 45%, I'm getting 46. If there's better value that opens up, I wouldn't blame you for not playing Suggs, because like I just don't get how he was so mediocre last game, and it killed like half my lines, actually a little bit more than half. But I like Suggs again today. The field does as well. It's hard to not like really whatever Magic players you get because Banchero being out is such a black hole that's gone. You can afford a couple divorces the way contracts are. I'm not worried about Calgary. I'm not worried about him. I just do think that, just gotta fucking just chill. Just chill for a little bit. Get set up in your house. Whatever. Jeremiah Fears, 39% sim exposure for me in my top with 50 fields at 28. For New Orleans, you have a Lakers team that they're going against that's not particularly good. You also have a total for them. It's also not great, 109 implied points. But the Lakers defense is worse than league average. Jeremiah Fears has been closing minutes, playing minutes alongside Jose Alvarado, which is big for him because he was losing minutes to Alvarado left and right initially. For Fears, though, it's a lot of Fears at 4,800. These price tags, Queen, Fears, Diabate, these are your value guys that I feel like right now they look like the best values. If you're going to tell me I could only play 2 of them, though, Diabate and Queen would be much more appealing to me than Fears, because Fears just kind of gets lost in the sauce pretty often. Too many guys that can get their shots up. Reed Shepard, another value here at 4,200, 24-minute projection for him, with his minutes being up a little bit lately. 18% ownership for Reed Shepard. I don't feel bad about it. 31% ownership that I'm getting right now. I don't love it. But Reed Shepard on the slate, I'd much rather play Diabate. Like, Diabate to me feels like almost a lock button play. Reed Shepard, a dude that's mixing in a little bit more than I would like, but I do have him better projected than Stokastic, 24.9 for me. 24.3 for them. It's barely above them. But it is above them. So Reed Shepard, okay play, but definitely one that could come down if any better value at all opens up. Austin Reeves, we talked about already. He's a little bit too cheap at 8K. That's why he looks like a top value. Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday played down so bad last game. I'm honestly not even sure why. Watching it just felt like Shaden Sharp and Denny Avdia took a ton of possessions away. For Drew Holiday, though, he is still playing above where he has, definitely by a wide margin on Boston last year. Playing Houston is a tough spot, but maybe that means they rely on him to get a shot more, because guys like Shaden Sharp, I could see gunning here and not getting much in the way of results. But Drew Holiday still a 36% assist rate on the year, 21% usage rate. The usage is the tough part, though, because like the guys on this team love to get their shots up, and Drew Holiday maybe not so much. And I do feel like he is receding a little bit more in terms of usage. Like, he started the year as like a 30% usage rate guy, and every game it keeps creeping down. So he might be giving up more and more to the Shaden Sharp, Avdia. I mean, Tabani Commer's not getting shots up. Jeremy Grant's getting more shots up than Drew right now. I am over projecting Drew, I think, with my 43 projection here, but playing him at 23% when the field's at 5, I can make that kind of stand. That's what I have my own data for. Sadiq Bey, 27% ownership for me, fields at 21. He's playing big minutes for the Pelicans. Pelicans all just a little bit too cheap, but they're also a little bit all over projected because the team right now is like a fragment of a shell of a concept of a team. They're not really legit guys. So as a result, they kind of project higher because the expectation is that they'll play at a certain level. But in reality, they're missing Zion. They're missing all the guys from the Pelicans who were on the team last year. So they might be their projections basically might be reflecting stats that are being filled up that don't need to be filled up because the team is not as good. But Sadiq Bey has a ceiling. I'm happy to play him 27%, fields at 21. Franz Wagner, we talked about. I think he's one of the best players in the slate based on what he's done historically without Paolo Banchero, but certainly Desmond Bain, Jalen Suggs, even Wendell Carter gain a lot from not having Banchero out there. Jalen Duren, we talked about. Stephon Castle, late slate, has played well for me lately. He's not losing as much as you would think with Fox back in because Harper's still out. When Harper comes back in, all those guys get squeezed. But Stephon Castle, good defensive stats, and he does keep usage. So that's that. We're going to go game by game here, guys, and try to make decent time on this. So please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. And if you get any value of this video, even if you're only going to fade everything I say, I would find that to be hurtful personally, but I think that's your right here. My goal is just to give you this data, give you the info. A lot of the stuff just rooted in what's going on in a given slate. But, follow your hearts, guys. NBA, as much as anything, gambling is all personal choice, all personal responsibility. So be as smart about it as you can. It's what I try to do with myself. Miami, 116.5 implied points. No Bam, no Hero still. That said, nobody projects that well. They're kind of priced for what they are at this point. Davion Mitchell, my boy, playing pretty well, 56% true shooting, getting close to league average, which is what you want to see from Davion Mitchell. He gets you some steals. The assist upside's there at 30%. But really for the Heat, they're playing interesting in terms of Sports Info Solutions, who I love for NFL data. If you watch my NFL shows, you probably know that. They did a breakdown of the Heat for NBA because I guess they do some NBA charting for teams. And basically, what the Heat are doing right now is they create offense by trying to get shots up pretty fast on the clock. But also they're just kind of recreating driving attempts with the wing over and over again. So that's part of why Jaime Jaquez keeps spiking upside. It's why Andrew Wiggins, Powell keep kind of having similar amounts of upside. Is because what they'll do is one guy will cut from the wing. Then if that guy doesn't hit, he'll pass it off to another guy. That guy might be a cutter or it might be somebody else at the wing, and they'll restart the process again where then that guy in the wing will attack the rim, yada, yada, yada. But that's why you're seeing Miami kind of bounce days around a lot. And really projection wise, they are all so flat. So Norm Powell, he's a 5x value. You can play him. The field's barely doing it at 5.5% ownership. Jaquez is going to get played at all. We've seen him have massive upside. Price is pretty high at 7,400, but if he hits the ceiling, he can break that. Davion Mitchell, the most owned here at 14%. I'm getting 7 though. Nobody projects that well. Nobody projects that badly. So they're all kind of inherently tournament options. They're like Toronto right now, where Toronto, same thing. It's usually Scotty Barnes is the biggest upside, except I don't even think they have a Scotty Barnes. They just have a bunch of dudes that produce very similarly. They're not number one in pace. They're at a 99.8 pace, which is lower than the Bulls, a couple others. You might be pulling different stats than I am, but this is from Basketball Reference. New York, 123 implied. We got Karl-Anthony Towns, 40% owned. Again, that feels a little bit hefty to me. OG Anunoby, another guy here who looks better because having Brunson out, but doesn't look like a smash play. Mikal Bridges looks the best to me, and I never have Mikal Bridges projected well, so I don't know what to take from that, but he has had some good games this year. He's also been assisting more with a 20% assist rate, which is the highest of everybody besides Josh Hart on the team. You're leaving Brunson's assists behind, so that's probably why Bridges is popping up more for me. Yeah, I never play Bridges. I'll get Bridges today. Got him at 13%. The field's at 5. Josh Hart, 12% is what the field's at. I'm getting 7. Would need to see a start from him, and it doesn't seem like the Knicks are currently inclined to do that. If I had to guess, you got a Shamet start potentially, a McBride start potentially. I think that's what's in the data. Clarkson, I do think, is an outside shot to start, and he would be an interesting play at 4,200. But the Knicks, honestly, I thought would look a lot better. Kind of like the Magic. Magic look really good without Banchero. Knicks look really good, total-wise, but without Brunson, nobody becomes as big of a winner as I would have thought. Stokastic, though, does like Towns more than me, so maybe take that away for today. Because that never happens. At least last year, never happened. Brooklyn, 105 implied points. Not a Michael Porter Jr. day for me. He's not deferring as much, but still 29% usage is not as high as it was to start the year. He's also down to 1.2 fantasy points a minute. Guys like Clowney, guys like Claxton doing a little bit more each time. That's not helping him out. Porter Jr., I think, always has tournament upside. In Orlando, I guess the defense might get fractionally better with Banchero out, but it could be worse. I never hate playing the Nets. Going against the Magic doesn't really feel like a spot to play Nets. But Porter Jr., Claxton, Clowney, those guys are all meaningfully involved. Igor Diomin, is how you're supposed to pronounce his name. Feels like he'll be a play at some point when you get the stars out. For right now, though, Nets are mostly Porter Jr., Claxton, and Clowney. And it doesn't feel like a slate where they are coming up as much as many others where they come up as super chalk. Orlando, we got 118.5 implied. Suggs, the big ownership play for me, but I am getting Franz at 42%. I don't think the field's going to be at 12. I think they will play Franz a bit more, especially given the fact that he went for over 50 fantasy points, I think, for the first time in his last game, which also coincided with Banchero going out early in that one. Desmond Bane, I'm not getting at all. So the big issue is that his rates don't increase with Banchero out. I might tinker with that. So people who are paying for my projections, just keep an eye out for it. But I think right now I'm probably over projecting Franz, under projecting Bane. Suggs, I think I'm correctly projecting at 30.7. But there's a lot of opportunity for all these guys to go around because of the fact that you don't have Banchero in. Like, Banchero is a ball hog, takes inefficient shots. Like, there's a chance this team, people hate hearing this stuff because like they're so star fucking clouded by it. The team might be better with Banchero off the court, and it wouldn't shock me if that's the case today. And it wouldn't shock me too if you saw like Wagner, Bane, Suggs, Carter hit. Probably not Black. The Black ownership feels a little bit off to me. But it wouldn't shock if you saw like 3 or 4 guys hit because Banchero leaves so much behind. And they're priced for it too. Whereas like the Knicks kind of not priced for it. Philadelphia, 113 implied points. Even with Embiid out, not getting anything here. If you take Edgecombe out, I think it'll look more interesting for Grimes, for Oubre. McCain is down in the G League, so he's out of the rotation for now. Dominic Barlow is in. I forget if he came in last game, but he's in now. For Philadelphia, it's not a terrific total going against Detroit here with 113 implied points. Detroit is playing towards the better part of the league right now, even though this is still not what I would call a good defense with a 112.2 defensive efficiency rating. I think Maxey to me is it. If you get Edgecombe out, Grimes and Oubre definitely in the picture. Maxey will look better. Drummond, playable. I don't have him getting enough of an increase with Embiid off, but he's playing real minutes and closing games for Philadelphia, so he's in the hunt, and it's a revenge game for him. So 19% ownership. I might want to boost mine just to be with the field on that. People will play Drummond a little bit more because he's been playing legit minutes, and now he's going back to Detroit. But he is like closing games and stuff, which frankly I wouldn't have expected for Drummond. So the court time seems pretty stable for him. Detroit on their side, mostly getting Duren here, 26%, Fields at 14. I didn't get Cade very much, but at 11K, that price tag is up. You're definitely paying for prior performances. If he shoots 46 times again, though, he's going to put up a million fucking points. I don't know how that's possible. Isaiah Stewart's a Q tag right now. If he plays, I'll get 15. Fields at 19.5. But really, we need to know, do Cade and Stewart go? Duren, I think, will go. I don't have enough of a lean on that yet, and I didn't see shoot-around reports. So we'll see. Got to keep an eye on this one. Detroit game today is at 7:30. So you will have Miami and New York locked, Brooklyn and Orlando locked. But you'll be able to swap for Philadelphia, Detroit if you need to. Portland, 114.5 implied points. Trying to make up some time here, so we'll speed through this. Really only getting Drew here. Shaden Sharp is playable, though. Shaden Sharp, as I've mentioned, is gunning so much, and his shooting is starting to get a little bit better. He's going to break slates from time to time. I would say for me in particular, if I'm going to play Drew that much, I should boost Shaden Sharp and Avdi a little bit more, but I'm getting these guys above the field, so I guess that kind of counts. But really, Drew Holiday's probably been playing a little bit over his head, shooting more than he will this year. He's starting to defer more and more. That use rate is creeping down. Shaden Sharp, though, gunning. Denny Avdia, relatively gunning, still creating assists. Not rebounding as well this year because Klingon's been a little bit better. But I think that top 3, very playable. Houston, though, a tough defense. I feel like if anybody's going to step up here, it would be Drew. Just how a veteran player against a tough defense, like it feels like they should eat Shaden Sharp alive. But Shaden Sharp's gunning, so the volatility is kind of always there. Same thing we talk about in football, where like pressure rate on a QB who drops back a lot. For basketball, it's like, okay, this guy playing a really tough defense that might ball deny him and stuff like that. Or they might just let him shoot really inefficiently or what they think is inefficiently. And if he gets hot, it'll work out. That's what a guy like Shaden Sharp is. Houston, a lot of Reed Shepard as a value play. Not the most exciting click in the world, but he's playing well. 65% true shooting, 20% usage rate, 20% assist rate, 1.05 fantasy points per minute. I would love Reed Shepard to like get more meaningful minutes, but seems like he's kind of blocked from that for now. Jabari Smith has been a tournament winner lately because he put up like 30 fantasy points. That's the kind of upside he represents at 5K. No issue with him at 11% ownership. Fields at 15. But Şengün seems like the one that has the most ceiling here, 5% ownership. Kevin Durant, I am not there. He is just not producing at the same rate with 1.06 fantasy points per minute. But if he scores a shitload of points, he might be able to get there. Charlotte 115 implied, Milwaukee 124.5. Getting nothing on Charlotte because of LaMelo being back in, but Diabate getting that boost with no Kalkbrenner. He is a massively great play. If you don't play him, I could see playing Mason Plumlee at the 3K minimum salary and then just spending every dollar salary you can. And if you somehow beat out Diabate because he got into foul trouble and Plumlee got there, that's a thing that happens in tournaments. But Diabate, generally, I feel like pretty close to a lock play. Starting center is producing 1.1 fantasy points a minute. Wish it were a better matchup than Milwaukee, but he's a really good play today, is Diabate. Milwaukee on their side, people will be able to afford Giannis pretty easily because of the value that's available. Fields at 36. I'm at 26. Ryan Rollins playing really incredibly well in every spot, including without Giannis lately. Ryan Rollins, 11% for me. Fields at 9. Does feel like Rollins is 6,700. You're paying for prior performance, and the ceiling is definitely going to come down a little bit because he is not going to shoot this hot forever. It's 64% true shooting. But Rollins, a legit player. Miles Turner, a legit player. These guys are not very owned. Cole Anthony playing well off the bench, not shooting super well, but getting a ton of usage and assist upside. I feel like he should have more tournament winning upside. Slate to slate at 4K. Maybe he does the value option as a pivot to some other value out there. Sacramento, nothing. Not worth playing unless you get a bunch of guys ruled out. Minnesota, half the field at Anthony Edwards, a little bit above on Jaden McDaniels, who's playing incredibly well. 66% true shooting for him is probably unsustainable, but it's been a monster to start the year. In Minnesota, I just don't get very much of unless somebody's out, but I feel like tournament option-wise, they're fine. Lakers, mostly Austin Reeves for me with their 118.5 implied points. With Reeves' ownership, though, would not be crazy. And also Giannis's. Would not be crazy to get less Reeves or just be with the field on Reeves and boost Luka in lineups without him. New Orleans, a lot of ownership for Derek Queen for me. He is a core lineup play right now. Jeremiah Fears, I'm getting above the field as well. He's in 40% of my lineups, and the field's at 28. Sadiq Bey in 27% of my lineups, field's at 21. A lot of this game for New Orleans side because there's certainly opportunity to go around for these guys. Trey Murphy has a ceiling. I did not goose his usage rate because it really is not there every game. But sometimes he seems extra motivated to get shots up. The day he went for 41 and 9, he had a different look about him. And then there's other games where he just like kind of slinks around and doesn't do a whole lot. He's really one of the hardest players to pin down. He doesn't seem like he wants to be there. But then sometimes if the matchup is like a certain way, he like looks like a superstar to me. I hate Trey Murphy. He frustrates me a lot. That's part of why I did not like touch his projection today. I was going to let this rock, but I do think Trey Murphy, with how much ownership is going to Queens, Fears, and Bay, if Murphy does go nuts here, it's probably like going to hurt those guys and give you a lot of leverage on the field. Clippers, Harden a good play, Zubac a good play. Zubac around a 25% owned play, Harden around 10. John Collins starting for Kawhi, not playing quite as well to start the year here, and giving up a ton of usage compared to where he's been in previous stops where he kind of shoot as much as he wants. But Collins still playing well. He's just not producing at anywhere near the fantasy points per minute that he used to. In Utah, he was like 1.2 last year. So far for the Clippers at 0.87. Dallas, nothing. If Anthony Davis plays, I don't want anything here. Brandon Williams, your lead guard for them. I guess he's playable at 5,400, producing 1.01 fantasy points a minute, but AD being back in, it would fuck everything up pretty meaningfully, so I really wouldn't want this much Brandon Williams practically if AD plays. And late slate, Golden State, nothing looks that good to me. Steph Curry, always going to be playable. San Antonio, Stephon Castle looks the best. Wemby playable. Fox playable. Whatever. There you go. All right, let's run a Stokastic sim, guys. I will also be on Stokastic's live before lock later today, I believe with Greg Ehrenberg. So tune into that at 6 p.m. Eastern if you want to see my updated takes as we get more guys ruled in, more guys ruled out. But please, guys, again, if you get any value to this process, a lot of you guys watching live, which I appreciate, make sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe. It goes a long way for me here. Just one dude showing you my work across the NBA every Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. here on YouTube and on Twitter on @SplashPlayPod. Again, it helps a lot here, and you hit that like button. We're always fighting the YouTube algorithm, and I want to stay ahead of it because with my NFL channel, I've not been like as aggressive about setting up an ecosystem, and I'm like getting killed in terms of impressions now. It fucking drives me insane for the showdown slates. It might just be people playing them less too. We're rambling because the sim is going. But either way, for you guys here, I want to get this NBA channel to be as strong as it possibly can. So please keep hitting the like button, please subscribing, and shout out to all you guys that do leave comments after the fact as well. And what I'm using on screen right now, the Stokastic Sims tool, you get it for yourself, 15% off all their data, all their stuff. The cheap stuff, like the data, the lineup generator, the expensive stuff, like their Sims products, even ones that cover all the sports like NFL, NBA, NHL, all the things going on right now. You get that for yourself with 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. So click the link in the description or in my Twitter bio, or just go over there and use the promo code SPLASH right now. It does support the show. Half the money you pay to them comes back to me. Smashed it. Thank you for that. Fox is in play. I'm more of a Castle guy, but he's playing a lot of minutes. Sure. Oh, and also, if you want my projections, join the channel. You can join on iOS now as well. But if you want to join the channel, just support $5. You support the channel, get access to the Discord. You want to join the channel, get access to my projections, the data that I show you on screen every day, including some of the stats and my PRA's numbers. Join the channel in one of the Squirt Squad tiers. So either way, I appreciate the support, but do support the channel here and join, get in the Discord, building a nice community on there. And for you guys that are just like clicking the Discord and not members, become a member first, because you're not going to be able to access anything if you're clicking it and you're not a member. So just got to be a YouTube member first before you can join the Discord. Keep seeing people signing up. They don't have memberships. And I'm like, well, what the fuck are you gonna do here? We got top ROI lineups with Stokastic data, no interference from me. We got Miles McBride, Desmond Bain, Neek Clifford. Neek Clifford? Why Neek Clifford? I'm not even hamming this up. Like, what? Played 14 minutes last game. And we're getting healthier. I don't get that. All right, whatever. Neek Clifford, sure. Go back to the sim. Neek Clifford, Giannis, Jalen Duren, Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Moussa Diabate. So you're getting like a ton of value to be able to afford Giannis and Duren. I don't get this lineup, man. What's a Neek Clifford? He's a rookie. I don't think he's produced even particularly well. He's somebody that I know a lot of the nerds like. I mean, I have him for 20 fantasy points today. Oh, they have him playing 27.5 minutes. Why do they have him playing that much? Because Drew Eubanks is probably out, I guess. Yeah, I know he's a rookie. Yeah, I presume it's because I think Drew Eubanks is out today. So I think they're just giving Neek Clifford like bottomless minutes. No, Eubanks isn't even out. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, Neek Clifford makes the first lineup. Josh Hart comp, sure. I mean, I would guess he's making the lineup. He's honest, he's not even minimum salary. He's 4,300. Anyway, all right. Well, Neek Clifford, wrong tab. Not the guy I would want to go to for myself, but he makes this lineup. Jalen Suggs, it's probably because the salary works well and they like all the players around him would be my guess, and he projects just well enough. We got Jalen Suggs. Well, Sabonis is still in the projection set, though, so it doesn't really make sense to me. I think this is one they're going to move, would be my guess. Jalen Suggs, Reed Shepard, Josh Hart, Isaiah Stewart, Wendell Carter, Jeremiah Fears, Giannis and Zubac. You're still getting Giannis in this one, but you're playing more legit guys to me. You don't get Duren, which does kind of suck, but you get leverage against him with Stewart. These lineups aren't, look, I'm not on the same page as these lineups if we're being real about it. Number 3, Jalen Suggs, Reed Shepard. Those guys I like. Franz I like. Towns I'm cool with. Rudy Gobert, Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Zubac. Okay, we're getting closer to something I could vibe with. Gobert, never really a play for me, but I get it for a tournament. Jalen Suggs, Reed Shepard at number 4, Josh Hart, Derek Queen, Jalen Duren. Luka Doncic makes this one. John Collins makes this one. And Diabate again. They're liking Derek Queen, which I'm glad to see. At number 5, Jeremiah Fears, Reed Shepard again. So Reed Shepard in 4 of the top 5 lineups. Herb Jones, Derek Queen, Moussa Diabate, Brandon Williams, Giannis, and Şengün. So you know what? It's that they think Reed Shepard is a great play that makes lineups work. And in this lineup, they faded Reed Shepard and gave you Neek Clifford instead at a different position and $100 more. Or maybe $100 less, whatever it is. But basically the same price point. So that's why Neek Clifford got in. It's a fade on Reed Shepard because the sim thinks Reed Shepard is such a dope play that it's like, here's a lineup where we're not playing this guy because every other lineup in the top 10 has Reed Shepard in it. That makes more sense. But that's, again, what I say here, like, Stokastic has like some free link join stuff. You really should use sims so you understand like what they're trying to do. Because basically what a sim will do, Stokastic's ETR for NFL, they don't have one for NBA, same thing. It has the underlying projection set that's giving you kind of your what the sim is going to work off of for finding outlier outcomes and the middle outcomes. And it makes leverage against itself. So like it thinks Reed Shepard's such a great play. And it's like, well, the field's going to think Reed Shepard's a great play. And they probably will because he does project as a good value. But then the sim is right away trying to fade itself in the first lineup, which it feels like AI run amok, but it's not actually AI. Nick Clifford, 3.5% ROI. They are loving him as a pivot to $4,200 Reed Shepard, who has a 2% positive ROI. So these two guys, if you like any player at 4,200, 4,300, and you want to fade this, I guess you could because it's really the salary that works for these lineups. Derek Queen, a 0.7% ROI. These are only positive ROI guys, but Jeremiah Fears right behind Jalen Duren, right behind him. Overall in Stokastic's top 150, you're getting 79% Derek Queen. I agree fully if he's going to, if they're projecting him for like high 20s minutes and he played high 30s last game, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen today, but if he plays like 33, he's going to probably beat that $4,900 projection, whether he makes a winning tournament lineup or not. But Queen, Stokastic is playing in 79% of the top 150. Fields expected to play 29%. Musa Diabate, 56% owned. Stokastic wants you to play 61%. So not a big stand there, but you are still playing more than the field. Definitely Diabate does not look like a lock button play for Stokastic. And in fact, he might be part of why you are getting Reed Shepard and Nick Clifford because he's at that same price point. And Diabate, they're expecting to be played a lot. Reed Shepard, 19% owned. Stokastic is giving you 59. Jeremiah Fears, 28% ownership. Fields, Stokastic wants you to get 56. And Karl-Anthony Towns, 38% exposure. Field wants you to get 46. So big stand on Derek Queen. And yeah, they do want you to get more Queen than Diabate. It's probably because there are less pivots at power forward in 4,900 than there are just 4,200 overall. Again, just kind of understanding how the sims work. Overall, your highest leverage plays, Derek Queen, 49% more in the field. Not a surprise. Reed Shepard, 39% more in the field. Again, not a surprise as well. Jeremiah Fears, 28% more in the field. Basically, 2x the field on Fears. That is a big stand. His minutes have stabilized, and he does contribute in every category. I just hate watching him stand around and see Trey Murphy shoot or Alvarado shoot or Derek Queen. But he's active. Just wish Fears. Fears is one of those guys where, like, that team needs no vets, and let's just play Fears and Queen and see if we have something legit there, but that's not how it's going. Jalen Duren, 16% leverage on him. You're playing him 30%, Fields at 14. And Ivica Zubac, 12% more in the field. Stokastic wants you to get 35. And they're expected to play, or the field's expected to play, is 23.5. Most negative leverage play is Sadiq Bey. You're only getting 6%, Fields at 21. Desmond Bain, a big fade on him. He's priced up, but he does gain opportunity from Banchero being out. Because I'm going to be so heavy on Franz, I want to make sure to get some Bain. But really, as I've mentioned countless times in this video, you take out these big usage guys. You know, Brunson is not as much of a black hole, but Brunson and Banchero, it just opens up a world of opportunity here. So I don't think being under on Bain for me, I don't have him well projected today, but I don't think it's the move. Austin Reeves, negative 9% leverage. He is a fade. I'm getting more in the field of him, so that's one place we'll disagree. Julius Randle, negative 7% leverage. Stokastic barely wants to play him. Only 1% exposure. And Jaden McDaniels, negative 6.5%. They want you to get 2. Fields at 8.5. I like Jaden McDaniels, but it's not really the kind of slate where he feels like a must-have. Let's do a single lineup sim. We'll make this the last stage of our journey, guys. But, you know, do the deal. Hit the like and subscribe. I feel like I've asked enough today, but please do. A lot of you guys watching, and I appreciate it. But I appreciate it more if you hit that like button, subscribe, follow on Twitter if you're watching on there as well. All right, let's build a lineup here. And I'm mostly going to be my splash plays of the day in this one because I want to see how they do. Diabate is the first click for me. Even if Stokastic is fading him a little bit more in my projections, I won't. Derek Queen will go with a power forward. They're going to put in Suggs. We know the sim doesn't like Bain. I think it should like Suggs a little bit more. Franz Wagner is a splash play for me, so I'm going to put him in. Stokastic's projection, though, is much lighter than mine is. I think this would be Reeves for me. So I'm going to go Reeves. Sim doesn't like him, though. We got guard, forward, and utility left. 6,400 left per spot. Sim likes Fears, and I can do Fears. Now we're kind of game stacking Pelicans, Lakers, which is fine. We want to pay up for Giannis here. What happens if I play Cat? Spend 9,400 on Cat. That leaves us 5,100 left. Play Klingon. Klingon versus the Houston Bigs feels like a tournament-y kind of play. None of these dudes are terribly well projected for me, but let's go with Klingon. I think putting Cat in kind of fucked this up a little bit. But my team, Suggs, Reeves, Wagner, Derek Queen, Diabate, Fears, Towns, Klingon. Positive ROI. I'm going to make one little swap here just to see how this grades out. What if we fade Diabate? We know the sim isn't crazy about Diabate. They won't have Plumlee well projected. But can we get anybody who's worth it at 6,300 for this? Miles Turner, Khalil Ware. Playing Cat and Ware feels a little bit cannibalistic. Play Ware. Sims love Nick Richards yesterday so they can fuck themselves. Yeah, all right. So going to Plumlee did not help. So that lineup was it. The Diabate lineup. Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, you get why they would like Nick Richards because he was 3,200 and he was the starter. Like when he was starter, I was like, well, fuck it, you got to go with him. I don't know how he didn't put up a single stat I think the entire first half he didn't put up a single stat. Then he got a block and a couple points early on in the third. But yeah, that was a weird run out. And I think like I thought the same way where it's like, cool, I get Richards, I can now afford Siakam. That's generally how the sim will think. Like they want you to get to the higher ceiling player if possible. And Nick Richards allowed you to do that, but I get it. I was mad at it too. Mad at myself really, because that was my own choice. Either way, guys, I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day, even though you probably have an idea who they are from watching this video. But please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. Of course, it goes a long way for me here. Just one dude showing you my gambling across the NBA every Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. Of course, my projections, I also update as well. So if you want to get access to those, join the channel at the Squirt Squad tier. I do update them Monday to Saturday because I do Saturday live before lock on Stokastic. So check me out on their shows today. But also, if you just want my projections, you want to support the show, join one of the tiers down below, and you'll do that. And also check out Stokastic. All the sims I showed you here, all the data, 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. And yep, there we go. That's DFS again. Iguodala went off whenever one play gets higher owned. The thing was like my lineup was low owned enough that I was like, I could take on Nick Richards here, and also Siakam was low owned. But yes, in general, if you were in a lineup that was like dead, or you had a chalky lineup that was hitting, switching Richards to Iguodala generally going to be a good move where it's like two guys competing for the same share of 48 minutes. But anyway, splash plays for the day. Derek Queen, Diabate, that's it. If you're not playing Diabate, I would give consideration to 3K Miles Plumlee, just because, Miles Plumlee? Mason Plumlee, sorry. 3K Mason Plumlee, because of the fact that, like, that's really the only way Diabate doesn't hit, in my opinion, is that Plumlee goes off. But Diabate should pay off that $4,200 price tag. I feel pretty good about him. I get why the sim, though, is giving you some pivots, because Diabate will be, probably for a lot of people, that first click in. But Derek Queen, I'll say Jalen Suggs. I worry a little bit about him, but I think the fantasy per minute projections are there. The fact he's closed games lately, that's good for Jalen Suggs. And just Banchero being out, like, it's a pretty big thing for me. So he would be one of my splash plays. Fears, I'll say, even though I'm not as full-throatedly strong about him. Reeves and Wagner in the AK tier. And I think that's it for me. I don't mind the Knicks, but they're not as big of a priority for me in the projections I thought they would be. But that's the video for today, guys. Again, live before lock for me for Stokastic. If you want to see my updated takes, tomorrow, live before lock as well for NBA. If you want to play on a Saturday with me, I am now preparing slates every day of the week for every sport. So we're going to have some fun doing it. That's what we're going to shake myself. We're going to have some fun doing it, Chris. But make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel on YouTube at SplashPlayBets, on Twitter at SplashPlayPod. Check out my NFL video for Week 11 as well if you want to see my takes for NFL. Clearly as well reasoned on there as we are here. And I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your days. Have a great weekend if I don't catch you on one of the Live Before Lock shows. And good luck. And bye, guys.